Well, I think we are live, Kristi. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Brenda?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Hey, everybody, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to start introducing some of the thought leaders, our speakers, our service providers that will be there to, provide support to our guests at the upcoming Whole You Retreat in Breckenridge, Colorado, October 16th through 19th. And we do have a few spots left. So this is what this is all about. We want you to start learning, and I want to introduce you to these amazing women who are there for you. And today I am incredibly honored to that a dear friend of mine, Kristi Huss, has agreed to come all the way from Iowa to be a thought leader for our group. And I wanted her to share a little bit more about her. But fun story is that we met ourselves in our own coaching program that we got some coaching a few years back, and we connected that way and have just maintained this friendship and connection ever since. So I am so grateful. This will be the first time here at the end of the month. No, next month, October 16th, that I'll actually get to give you a squeeze.
I know. We meet in person. Yeah.
We meet up close and in person. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for, your commitment to travel to do the work you love.
Yeah, I'm honored. It'll be great. And I do look forward to meeting you in person. And yes, it was we met at a long, point ago in our journeys when we were figuring some of this stuff out. So we both have the passion for that. I think we met because we were fellow authors and just had that connection, but it's grown into much more. So I'm very glad to be here.
I totally agree. So, well, let's just start by having you introduce yourself to everyone, who you are and why you do what you do. What inspires you to do your work?
Yeah, well, just a brief version is I call myself I don't know what happened there. I call myself a journey facilitator. And what I consider that to mean is for almost 30 years, I've been helping people as a travel advisor, getting people to where they want to be in the world. But it's been in the last, 4 to 5 years, I've really enjoyed helping people to get where they want to be in their life goals, whether it be personal or professional. As a coach and a speaker, I am a high performance coach. And often people think that that means, well, it's because I have to be some high athlete or high achiever. And that could be the case, but it's really just anybody who's looking to do things just a little bit better. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because I experienced it myself many years ago. I went through it, had no desire to coach, but I've been in the personal development space for a long time, learning and loving to figure out how to support others. And because that, I would call it an internal exploration trip when I went through the high performance pathway. It was so transformational to me that I thought I want to help other people in this way. So, I am a mom of six daughters, and I have some son-in-laws and a grandson. I love being a mom and a wife to my husband, and I love having a I love having a job and a career and things that are fulfilling. So I love all those things.
Yes. Okay. And I have to share that one of the things that you and I connected on in particular is that we're both authors, and we kind
Mhm.
of have the same topic. My book, Lady in the Tribe, is kind of about my journey through getting into the empty nest and finding myself lost and trying to figure it out. Who am I without my roles? And you have a book called Empty Besting that kind of goes through your journey and what you learned. So that was a cool connection point that we had together, right?
Yeah. And I also feel like it's not only that, but we were both doing that in a way. For me, I always had a goal to write a book. I had no idea that was going to be the topic of my first book. I probably would have laughed if you would have told me that. I think it was more of just a kind of, as a writer, I like to take on things that also I have to work on myself or that are inspiring to me. So I tried to do that how-to guide. And I know your book was trying to find greater connection and, finding what this stage looks like. And so it was in practicing it ourselves and then also, wanting to help others, you're always learning and discovering. I mean, I can't wait to go back and redo and edit some of those things in that book, but I'm working on my current one right now, but we're always learning and growing. And I love that. Yes, we do have that shared passion.
I love it. Yes, I'm working on mine as well, and I'm down to the last two chapters, and I'm getting so
Oh,
close. So it's very exciting. So we're always cheering each other on with that, with this important work. So, Kristi, tell me a little bit about. So you mentioned, how you wanted to transition from being coach to become a coach because it is so powerful. Can you talk just a little bit about why you think it is so important to invest in yourself like that? And also, what specifically lights you up about supporting women, especially at this stage in life?
yeah. So about that part in like investing your resources, time, money in yourself. I mean, I will say I have not been good at that. Of course, as moms, in we're supporting all these people. All those are the passions we want them to do well. So often we put ourselves at the bottom of the list, and that's very common. And of course, but we wouldn't necessarily want our kids to do that. If they when they're going through changes or they're entering new life stages, we're always trying to figure out how to support them. What are the resources that are best? I think it's almost silly that and many other times we get through college and what we just have it all figured out, or that as we progress in life, the only book we'll need is What to Expect and We're Expecting, and then after that, like we know exactly what to do or how to handle what comes at us. So for me, when I finally took that time, I knew that my operating procedure was not the best. It was not my best for those that I care about. For the things that I wanted to do, I was kind of in that hustle and grind mentality. I was achieving a lot of things, but it wasn't always at the pace or at the joy of the journey basically that I experienced. So for me, the coaching, investing in yourself, I feel like we will invest in so many things. We'll get a new bag. We'll be like, oh, let's go get a pedicure, or we'll invest in a lot of external things. Of course, travel. I love that and absolutely want people to travel. Those things seem good to invest in. But when it comes to that internal exploration and what the work that we do as a coach, and for people to take the time and the effort, that is often thought of very last or not as important. But what I found is when we do that internal work, everything makes the external is so much more fulfilling, not just for yourself, but for everyone that gets to experience you. So I think the passion for me is, and especially women at this stage, is because we are in a big period of transition and we're trying to figure it out. We look around at everyone else and it seems like everyone's got it figured out. And it's like, well, but we haven't taken that time to figure out what does that look like for me and my family and my path.
Right, absolutely. I feel like before I started reinvesting myself, I was just faking it till I made it, right? And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. We all put on this smiling face, everything's great, but we forget that why wouldn't we need mentors throughout our life, at every stage of life, to glean any wisdom or what they've learned and make our journey just a little easier, right?
Well, and I think there's also sometimes, I know I used to have this with any type of like development. Some people are very much about it, and other people can be like, it's almost like an admission that there's something wrong with you, or
Mhm.
that, wow, you really need some help on something. And it's really the people that I work with and have found it's people that are very successful. It's people typically that want to invest in themselves. They are people that do grow and they're successful because they're constantly learning about themselves and how things are so that they can do better. It's not that there's something off necessarily. It's just that, you know what, I can't quite figure it out.
Mhm.
I can't put my finger on it. And as a coach, I just basically guide people through this process that works, and they have the answers. It's just we can't often find them. It's similar to anything. We always have our own blind spots.
Right. I love how you mentioned how we invest in all these external things and travel being one of them. Well, here at the Whole You Retreat, we have the best of both worlds.
That's what's so fun when you get to combine both. Yes.
Yes, we
And
get to go to a beautiful place and learn and grow.
right. And I will say with that, because of the merger of the way I do things with travel, I not only take that event, but I will share ways that you can incorporate that beyond. I feel like an event is an amazing, especially we can be in person, but I want that to be a catalyst, not only for the internal, but ways that they can infuse what they love about that in the everyday life. And that's been a fun benefit because I used to approach things when I was trying to figure out which lane, if you will, where's my best lane? Where do I fit here? And I think most people struggle with that in because you've gotten success in a certain area, but you might have a pull in other areas. But I think it's especially in our midlife, we have this wisdom and experiences of all these things. And when we can figure out that perfect blend, which is different for everyone, that's when we can really make a difference in the way that's the most unique to us.
Yes, I love that. And that's a great transition to, I just want to ask you, tell us about your role at the Whole Year Retreat and what are you going to be sharing, providing to our guests?
Yeah, so you came up with my great title of a goal guide, and you know I love a goal achievement, and I love helping guide people. But one thing that's really going to be fun is we're not only going to talk about goals, we're going to figure out not just the outcome of a goal. We're going to talk about what does that look like? How do you get there? Who do you become? How can you enjoy it? So it's not just about a goal achievement. It's really about how you're experiencing everyday life. And because I do things so much in a travel analogy way, I'm going to help not only guide the attendees with that, but I'm going to help them equip them with some navigational tools that I've developed so that they're going to be able to know how to navigate things the best way they can after leaving the retreat, which is going to, again, be custom to how they operate best.
Okay, awesome. So I was going to ask you, what's the number one takeaway? Is that it? Or what's the number one takeaway you think people will be coming
Well,
from your
I think
workshop?
I love to always change perspective. So we're going to talk about how to flip our perspectives and look at things, really explore possibilities, build some confidence, and then know how to leave and navigate things with more purpose and enjoyment.
Right. And I just want to come back to this point and ask you again in a different way. Why do you think it's so important for women to take time for themselves, especially when they're facing a transition?
hmm Well, I think because when we haven't taken the time to put our finger on it, I think it can be very extra tricky in today's society when with social media. I mean, you're a little old school me. We remember times before that, but we had more time to be introspective, to think, and not worry about what everyone else is doing, but really figure out what is the right path for me. And now we're just being inundated with everything, and everything looks good, and that's the way it's supposed to. And it's just like, well, that looks good, or I should try that. But really taking that time to figure it out, what is the best for me and my path, and for those that I care about, and how can I serve at my highest level? How can I have more joy and fulfillment in each day, and not just try to do what everyone else is doing. So as a travel advisor, I always say, when people come to me and say, this is where I want to go, I ask them a lot of questions. Quite often it's because it's what someone else told them. But when we start to explore that, it might not be what really is meant, the trip meant for them. And it's the same thing with, how we approach these big changes. Where do we really want to go, and who do we want to be? Not just looking at what looks good or what other people's are doing, but really figuring that out for ourselves.
Right. I love it. I think that a lot of times we just kind of go through life in reactive mode, just kind of what's coming at me today and deal with it. Whereas
Yep.
if you've taken the time to figure out, your clarifying your values, your goals, your direction, what you want, then you have a point at which to launch from and to make decisions from.
I love that you brought that up because I always say one of the biggest benefit of the internal exploration doing this work is I found the biggest benefits to be when life throws things at you. So you can't always help the reactive stuff. You can try to be proactive. We can do the best planning, but by equipping yourself and knowing how to navigate that, to me, that's when I found it to be the most beneficial. I always say, what's the good and bad? Well, when it's bad, that's when I find out it's good. It's really helpful to, you look back and say, oh, I'm handling that much better than I used to. So that's very important that you brought that up.
Right, absolutely. Well, so Christy, as you can imagine, some women are on the fence about coming.
Mhm.
Whether it's finances, just time constraints, or even other people's priorities. I always like to throw that one in.
Yeah.
They're just concerned about stepping away even for a long 3-day, 4-day weekend. What encouragement would you give them?
So I love, if there's some little inner voice that's saying that, I love exploring, like curious why are you saying that? I feel like the very reason you're exploring that you're on the fence says that that's your answer. And some, that, oh, I'm on the fence about that there's something nudging me here. That's your answer is, I feel like whether you have things that you want to do or a goal in mind, and whether you don't know, I feel like sometimes it's like when you don't know, well, you're the goal. To figure
Mm.
that out is the goal. And by stepping away and investing in that time, it's going to pay off exponentially in just the frustration, the doubt, that more awareness that you're going to gain is going to be so beneficial in what you're going to get in that time. And
Absolutely.
oh, the other thing I will say is often doing that, it can be hard work. As you know, you feel lonely, you feel alone. That's your concept is bringing a tribe together. And not everybody gets it and not everybody supports it. And we get that. We can all have our different paths and journeys. So to be in that space, if you're feeling that, like, I wish I had more support, I feel like that's another reason that's going to be a big benefit.
Oh gosh, great point. Absolutely. We all need more support. We all need can add a person or two to our tribe. I feel like it's not a finite number. It's whatever works for you, and we always need that support.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are you most looking forward to on this retreat?
Well, a lot of things. I mean, on a personal note, I feel like I've flown through Colorado, like, in an airport. I have not really experienced it, so I'm looking forward to that. I got a couple kids out there too, which I'm looking forward to see. So I'm getting to combine some really fun stuff, and just being in beauty and nature. But I will say I do a lot of virtual. I mean, this is great that we are in a virtual world, virtual coaching and speaking, but there's nothing like being in person. The connections, and not just for an hour, just for a 1 day conference, we'll really get to spend that time together. So to me, it's just that in person, in such a beautiful place and around wonderful people that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, well, I just cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's always such an amazing. We're always shocked at the end because we every time we do it, we are like, "This is the best one," and we can't believe how can it be? How can it just get better and better? But it always does. So thank you,
Yes.
Kristi, so much. We are so thrilled to have you here with us for this upcoming next best retreat, and so ladies out there, if you're watching this, anything that Kristi said that inspired you or resonated with you. If you have a question, by the way, put it in the comments here below, and Kristi or I will come back and make sure we get those answered. But I invite you personally to join us in Breckenridge, October 16th through 19th. Just a little, gosh, almost just more than a month away from now. And you can find all the details at Whole Universe. That's whole universe.com. Colorado Mountain Retreat is actually the specific, and we cannot wait to see you there. So with that, until next time, thanks for
Yeah.
being here.
Thanks. I look forward to meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.